Welcome friends to another Lord of the Rings video. The Hobbits, Frodo, Sam, Merry and Pippin return from the War of the Ring. But how did this experience change them, as it no doubt changed J.R.R. Tolkien in our world? Today we will examine the Scouring of the Shire from the end of the Return of the King. To answer this question, spoilers for the trilogy throughout, let's get straight into it. The Hobbits, as they return to the Shire, notice changes to the Brandywine. It's blocked by a large spiked gate and new, unshire-like houses on the other bank. They see a notice. Sam threatens to take the notice down, and Hobbits come out to find the returned war heroes. They all, to me, seem to not be standing for things and wanting to know what is going on, and not standing for the nonsense that is told to them. They are a lot less meeker than they used to be when they first left the Shire. At length they get inside, and after a rest they decide to travel to Hobbiton to see what is going on. They are stopped at the east side of a village called Frogmorton, and a large band of sheriffs tries to arrest them. The Hobbits laugh this off, where once they might have been afraid, the war has steeled them. They ignore further threats and continue to Hobbiton. They see where hobbit homes have been torn down and new, ugly houses built. This land is Frodo and Sam's own country. They eventually get to the Green Dragon pub and find more ruffians. Merry says it reminds him of many at Isengard. Frodo tells them about the destruction of Isengard and the return of the king. The ruffians are a little rattled by this. Frodo has such a broader view of the world after his experience in the War of the Ring, and he uses it here. Also notice how he talks instead of fighting straight away. Their leader doesn't care until Pippin says he's a friend of the king and draws his sword. The others, except Frodo, back him up, and a note in the Hobbits' voices chilled the ruffians with fear. They decide to rescue Lotho, the Hobbit leader. He is a prisoner in Bag End. Frodo warns that even with a Hobbit that is a wrong 'un, they will not slay them, as no Hobbit has ever killed another on purpose. I think here we see some of the marks of war on Frodo, him not wanting to be involved in direct battle or see further hurt on his own people. I also like how the others fight and give Frodo the less direct duties, like they recognise the weight he carried with the ring and what this has taken out of him. They decide they must raise the Shire. Merry says he will blow the horn of Rohan, and Sam goes to get help from Farmer Cotton. There Sam sees Rosie is safe. She says he looks fine. He then returns to Frodo. He returns to find the ruffians roused. Farmer Cotton informs Frodo what they face, and 20 ruffians approach a barrier the village folk have built. They laugh, thinking no one here can stand up to them. But the ruffians laugh less when they see they are surrounded by hobbits, and Merry says to lay down their weapons. When their leader tries to aim a blow at Merry, he falls dead with 4 arrows in him. This settles the rest, who are tied up and locked away. Merry arranges lookouts and guards at the barriers during the night. Merry later rode in to say a lot of men had gathered and were marching in on their position, and Pippin came with enough tucks for the hobbits to have enough numbers to deal with the ruffians. The ruffians came up the bywater. They then met a barrier that halted them, and they saw the hedges about them were lined with hobbits. Merry tells them to lay down their weapons. Some charged the barrier. 6 were shot, but the remains killed 2 hobbits and then scattered across country. Pippin blew his horn and received a response and said, "Our hunters will deal with them." With both Merry and Pippin here, we see the tactics they have learned from fighting with Rohan, lookouts and guards and the trap of surrounding the ruffians, and also how someone like Sam now stands a little taller, not literally like Merry and Pippin, and Rosie notices this. The ruffians killed more hobbits, and they wavered, and then Merry and Pippin charged them. Merry killed the leader, a huge, orc-like man, and led his forces to surround the remaining men in a circle of archers. There were 19 hobbits killed, and they were laid together in a grave. Frodo did not fight, but prevented the hobbits fighting with them, wanting revenge on the ruffians when they threw down their weapons. I like Frodo here, trying to keep the bloodshed minimal. He has seen so much of war, it makes sense now. It's over, he wants for it to not end in that sort of way. The hobbits then see the damage that has been done. The old grange was a row of tarred sheds. Bagshot Row was a sand and gravel pit. Even the party tree had been torn down. Merry blew his horn, and hobbits poured out of everywhere to join them as they marched on Bag End to confront the leader of the ruffians. They are confronted by Saruman. There are shouts to kill him, but Saruman says, "If my blood stains the Shire, it shall wither and never again be healed." You really see how the hobbits have become leaders and stand apart from the other, more sheltered hobbits that have never left their homes. Frodo dismisses this threat, and as Saruman turns to leave, he tries to stab Frodo, whose mail coat turns it. The hobbits rush forward and drag Saruman to the ground, and they decide to let him go, because Frodo says he is fallen and his cure is beyond us, but I would still spare him in the hope that he may find it. Saruman says that Grimer killed the Hobbit chief, but Grimer says Saruman told him to do it. Saruman kicks Grimer as he hobbles, and Grimer snaps and jumps on Saruman's back and cuts his throat. The hobbits then kill Grimer with arrows before anything else can be done. Frodo again shows mercy when he could kill, trying to give Saruman a chance to live on, as he has, even though Frodo knows the scars will stay with you. So you can see the hobbits have grown in warfare and confidence, enough that they stand out in knowledge and as leaders. The hobbits say it is the last stroke of the war, but they did not expect it at Bag End. Now friends, I turn this over to you. What do you think the hobbits showed when they returned from war? Did they handle things right? Has your home been invaded by Saruman and Grimer Wormtongue? Comment down below.